not called a marathon. There's only one marathon. It's 42.2. Okay? Anything above 42.2 is called an ultra marathon. So you can do 50 kilometer. I've done 50, 100 kilometer races. That's the definitions. What we're talking about here is a marathon, Dubai Standard Chartered Marathon, and then there is a 10K. And we can do both. Now, in terms of marathon training, I ran my first marathon at 18 years old on a $500 bet from a girl who said I couldn't do it. And I trained stupidly and I survived, but it about killed me. I said I will never do this again. I did not run another marathon until I was 28. So it took me 10 years to mentally get over it. And I ran another one at 28. And then I said, okay, I'm probably done with that. And then I went back. I've run about 32 full marathons and 5 or 6 ultra marathons. I have coached at least 50,000 beginners to finish with a 99% success rate. The only people who didn't finish got injured before the race. I never had anybody drop out. Now, there have been some tough moments. In Poland, my head of HR, his kid was on the course watching, his wife was there, and at like 36 kilometers, he stopped and he sat down and he started crying and he said, I can't do it. I grabbed him by the hair and I pulled him for a kilometer and I said, you don't ever let your kid watch you quit. And then he started running again, and in the end he hugged me and he was happy, but I pulled some of his hair out. Okay, so I've had people have tough times. I've also coached a number of Olympic marathoners. I coached the Nigerian team in 2012 London Olympics. I've had coached national runners in Germany, France, the United States, Philippines, all in the marathon, all with world-class time. So there is a big difference. What we're going to do is cover what it takes to do a marathon, the 5 principles or 5 facts about marathoning. Fact number 1, anybody in this room can run 42.2 in 20 weeks if you listen to what we say. I have had 400-pound people, that's 175 kilo, come to me and say, can I run? On day 1, they ran 100 meters. 17 weeks later, 42.2. The human body is born to run. Now people say, my knees can't handle it. I've had so many knee surgeries, I can't talk about it. I can run this all the time. Your body's meant to run. You may have problems with shoes or biomechanics. I'll help you with that. But anybody can run, okay? I've had more knee surgery than anybody in the company. And I can run this thing, and I'm also 56. So if I can do it, you can do it. I think everybody here's got legs. You're already way ahead of them, so you can do it. The second person is one of the most famous inspirational appearances from Canada. His name is Terry Fox. Has anyone ever heard of Terry Fox? Okay, so a couple of you heard of Terry Fox. Here's a short video of the story of Terry Fox. Now I want you to put yourself and say, if he can do what he did, I can't run 42.2? Really? Take a look at this video of Terry Fox. This is him running. He did what's called a Marathon of Hope. What he did was run marathons across Canada to raise money for cancer. He ran a marathon every day for 170 days. And let's watch the story.
"25 years ago, this was the starting line for Canada's Terry Fox. The shallows of the Atlantic at St. John's, Newfoundland. From there, he would head west, into rural provinces, through the streets of Toronto, across countless canyons, and finish near his home in Vancouver, where the sun sets into the Pacific.
If I don't make it, nobody would make it. Maybe I won't make it, but if it's up to me, I think I can do it.
Terry Fox was an 18-year-old from British Columbia when he was diagnosed with bone cancer in his right knee. Amputation and chemotherapy left him with an artificial leg and memories of those still in the cancer ward.
Kids my age and younger, and you just can't leave something like that and try and forget it, and I couldn't anyway. I had to try and do something about it.
And so he did. Terry trained on his new leg for 14 months, then told his family that he would run east to west across Canada, hoping to raise $1 million for cancer research.
I said, "Why can't you run across British Columbia?" And he said, "Because not only people in BC get cancer." Well, I couldn't argue that.
On April 12, 1980, at the easternmost point of Canada, it began, the Marathon of Hope. And Terry would do it by running 26 miles. A marathon every single day.
It defies logic, really. Not only running a marathon, who runs a marathon a day? Let alone who runs a marathon a day on an artificial leg?
It didn't matter if it was snowing, pouring rain, 90-degree Fahrenheit heat. He had to do that marathon every day.
With his best friend Doug Allward and brother Daryl following in a support van, 21-year-old Terry would rise at 4 a.m. to run 12 miles, rest, then do 14 miles in the afternoon, seeking donations across lonely expanses of highway. At first, few knew of him, and donations were spotty. Terry kept running. 2 months into the Marathon of Hope, Terry entered the province of Ontario and was invited to kick off a CFL game.
We came up out of the arena, and I've been thinking to myself, wouldn't it be nice if people knew who he was? And as we walked towards the sidelines, the announcer started and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, that's as far as he got." And the place went crazy.
With Bill Viggers publicizing Terry's run, the crowds got bigger. More money flowed in. Terry now wanted to raise $1 for every Canadian, $24 million in all.
What resonated with Canadians about Terry was his honesty, his innocence, his determination. That's, I think, why people fell in love with Terry Fox.
In Toronto, thousands cheered him. For Canadians, Terry had become an inspirational hero. But what inspired Terry were the children he was trying so hard to help. Children like Greg Scott.
I'm crying now because there's somebody here right now who is going through the same thing that I went through. Exact same thing, and he's only 10 years old. And I had the most inspirational day of my life today.
And so Terry gave himself an afternoon off from the Marathon of Hope to swim with Greg. It was just the 4th day off in 137 days on the road.
Greg was a great boost to Terry at the time, because I don't think at the time Terry wasn't feeling very good.
As he approached the city of Thunder Bay on September 1st, Terry Fox had run 3,339 miles, nearly the distance between Miami and Seattle. He was on this stretch of road, at this white marker, when he asked to be taken to the hospital.
Thunder Bay was a surprise and shock, and we weren't expecting that. None of us were, including Terry.
Doctors there examined Terry's lungs, then offered a diagnosis. The cancer had returned.
He had a tumor the size of a lemon and a tumor the size of a golf ball on both sides of in both his lungs. And that's what he ran 26 miles with the day before and the day before and the day before.
From a stretcher, Terry shared the news of his diagnosis.
The cancer had spread, and now I've got cancer in my lungs. And we got to go home and try and do some more treatment. But all I can say is if there's any way I can get out there again and finish it, I will.
I can remember turning and looking at me, and he said, "Maybe people now will understand what it was all about." He was so concerned that they had lost focus that what he was doing was to raise money about cancer and about cancer.
Terry was taken to a Vancouver hospital to endure new rounds of treatment. Just days later, an impromptu telethon was organized.
$10 million. Thank you, Kennedy.
As more than $10 million were added to the $2 million Terry had raised, Terry could know his dream of raising $1 for every Canadian citizen would someday be a reality. When Christmas 1980 drew near, Terry confided to his mother a single regret.
He said, you know, I've raised millions of dollars, and I haven't got $1 to buy my family a Christmas present. And that was really tough.
So his older brother lent him some money, and Terry bought his mother a gift, this pink wastepaper basket. It would be their last Christmas together.
Terry was ready to die. He knew he was dying, and he knew he wasn't going to make it, and there wasn't any sense fighting anymore.
Terry Fox died on June 28, 1981. He was 22 years old.
He died surrounded by love, the love of his family, all of whom were with him, and the love and prayers of the entire nation.
The entire nation of Canada has never forgotten Terry Fox. In Thunder Bay, this statue remembers Terry in full stride, head up, facing the west, running home.
You know, he said before he started the Marathon of Hope, he said, I want to try the impossible to show that it can be done. And in my mind, that's exactly what he did.
Terry even wrote in his journal, if I die, at least I'll die happy doing what I wanted to do in life. And I think he did that.
And this company saying, I can't do it. It's bullshit. You can do it. This guy ran with cancer with one leg, 170 straight marathons. Come on, one. With me helping you, with me carrying your water for you, with Carol running with you, with your family cheering, 2 legs, no cancer. Come on. You can do this if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's okay. It's just not for everybody. You want to do it, you can run this marathon. Fact number 2, in life, in running, in this company, there are 3 steps to success. In everything, there's only 3 steps to success. Step number 1, determine what you want. If you want to be a doctor, you say, great, you want to be a doctor. Step 2, determine the price. There's a price of effort that is required. Okay, if you want to be a doctor, you got to go to medical school for 4 years. You know it. And then step 3, pay the price. You got to go to med school. But what's the problem in today's world? Nobody wants to pay the price. I want to lose weight. The price is reduce my eating. I don't want to do that. Okay, then it doesn't happen. I want a pill. I want to take a pill. This is life. Determine what you want, determine the price, pay the price. Now, if you look at a marathon, the price you have to pay depends upon your goal. Now, there's different types of trainings. I'm going to give you a very quick 101 on exercise physiology. There are basically 4 different types of running training for a runner who wants to get faster, for like a 5K, 10K, 20K, or a marathon. At the top of the pyramid is called interval training, which is a run very hard of 3 to 5 minutes in duration, run at maximum heart rate. Now, what does that do? That builds what's called VO2, which is volume of oxygen uptake. This is the amount of oxygen that can be delivered to the muscles. This is working on your heart, what's called stroke volume. Every time the heart beats, how much blood goes. This improves heartbeat efficiency. It also improves lung capacity to bring oxygen into the body. Below that is a little bit slower training. This is very fast and hard. Below that is a little bit slower. This is called tempo training, or you'll hear the term lactate threshold. When you're running and you get tired, what is making you tired? It's called lactate. It's in the bloodstream, and it starts to slow the muscles down. Now, lactate is removed by the kidneys and the liver. This type of training trains the kidneys and liver to be more efficient in taking lactate out of the blood so that you can keep running. This is run at about 85% of maximum heart rate, roughly, averagely. But it's still pretty hard. This is the training I hate the most because it lasts like 20 minutes. To do a good lactate run is a 20-minute run. It's a horrible 20 minutes. At least this one is over in 5 minutes. It's hell, but you're done. This one is like 20 minutes. The third level is what's called marathon pace training. This is saying, I want to run a marathon this fast, so I need to practice that pacing. And you'll go 10 kilometers at that pace, you'll go 15 kilometers, you might even go up to 25 kilometers at that pace. Why don't you go farther? Because it'll kill your legs for the marathon. Okay, so that's called marathon pace training. And then the bottom of the pyramid, the foundation, is called LSD, which stands for long, slow distance. Or, these are what's called famously the long run. It's almost always done on the weekend when you have like a couple hours because you might have to run. I mean, I've done long runs of 5 hours where you're out running, for 5 hours at a time. What does this build? This is the baseline of endurance. In every cell in your body, there's a little furnace, a little heater called mitochondria. Mitochondria is the energy factory of a cell. Long runs build the ability of the mitochondria to keep burning energy for a long time. This is the baseline of building endurance. Now, you get two different types of runners. You got elite people, like Olympians, where they want to do great, and you've got people who say, I just want to finish this race. I don't care about time. In my opinion, to anyone in this room is, if this is your first marathon, do not care about time. Don't run the clock. Enjoy the race. So, if you look at this, an elite runner has to do interval training. The finisher never has to do intervals. You don't have to do that. The elite runner needs to do tempo training, but the finisher never has to do tempo training. The elite runner needs to run marathon pace training. Finishers don't have to do that. And the elite runner has to do the long run. And that is the only run that you have to do of training, is you're going to have to do once a week a long run and train your body to go a little bit further every weekend. And that's how the program works. What is the time commitment of this? The time commitment is 3 days a week, maximum 4. You do what's called run walk. You'll run faster, and I've done it. Look, I'll tell you a story. I'm leading like 50 people in PNG Philippines in a marathon. My finance manager doesn't want to listen to me. He knows everything. So we start the race, and we're doing what's called a 5-1. Run for 5 minutes, walk for 1. And I'm watching the clock. And I would yell, run! We would run 5 minutes, then walk! And just walk. He takes off. So the first time I yell walk, he keeps running. And I said, Jesse, stop. And he said, no, I can do this. I feel great. Everybody feels great in the first kilometer. It's not how you feel good in 1, it's how you feel good you feel at 42. So he takes off. Now, because he was a leadership team member and it was very high profile, many of the people with me were scared. They're like, oh my God, boss, are we not going to finish this? He's already, and gradually he disappeared. So like, at 10 minutes, we still saw him. At 15, he was pretty far away. At 20, he was, we didn't see him anymore. I told the whole group, I said, don't worry. His first marathon, he doesn't know what he's doing. We will see him again. And at kilometer 30, I saw him in the distance. And at 31, he was closer. And at 32, he got really close. And at 33, at 34, we passed him and he was dying. He was like, this is terrible. Oh my God. And I said, you gotta listen. I've done this 30 times. Listen. And we passed him, the whole team with me, beat him by 30 minutes. We were in, massage, eating when he finally came in. It's called run walk. This is what we're going to do. This is what I do. Now, I don't do a run walk on a 5K, but on a marathon, I run. And you'll meet people, and I've tried it. I was once in the Amsterdam Marathon. These two girls from California. They had their watches set to beep. Like every 2 minutes, they would beep, for a minute. And we were all running together, and then their watch beeped, and they started walking, and I said, I feel pretty good. At like some 30K, I heard the beeping of the watch, and the girls passed me. I went ahead and ran, and they caught me, and they passed me. Run, walk works. There's nothing wrong with run and walking. Everybody does it. Even I know even elites that will stop and walk for 10 seconds. They'll stop at a water stop, get the water, and then they'll start when they walk. But there's no issue with this. You do not have to run the whole thing. I don't know anybody who runs the whole thing. Most people had to stop and pee once during the race. You stopped. I mean, Paula Radcliffe, when she set the world record, she stopped right in front of the TV cameras and squatted and peed on the road and stood up and ran. You gotta pee, you gotta pee. This is the way it goes. Okay, so if you want to do anything over 4 hours, which is my recommendation, we're going to go for 7 hours and below. Okay, I'm going to run with like a 7-hour. We're going to go slow, we're going to walk, we're going to take in food, we're going to drink, and we're also going to enjoy the marathon. Don't ever wear earphones in a marathon. Why are you playing all this music? Take this thing in. This is a spectacle. There's big crowds. Wave, listen to people yelling. This is the fun of it. Don't sit there and listen to some rap song. I mean, you can listen to rap on the toilet. This is a chance in your lifetime. Enjoy the whole experience. Look at the beautiful city. This course is a beautiful course. Along the sea, a long shaped diet road. You get to see everything. You get to obviously see the birds and everything. Take it all in. Enjoy this whole thing. We're going to be doing a run walk program. All your training runs are run walk. Now, you got to find the right zone. I'm going to recommend, if you're a super beginner, 1-1. Run 1 minute, walk 1 minute. If you're okay, go 2-1. I would never go over a 5-1 because even though it feels easy at the beginning, every time I've had a 5-1 by kilometer 25, they're down to a 2-1 because their legs are dead. Start and conserve your energy. This is a long race. 2-1. So even on that first one, when you run for 2 minutes, you're laughing. Like, this is so easy. Give yourself time. This one hurts. Just give it time. Okay? So run walking is what we're going to do. This was created by a guy named Jeff Galloway. Galloway was an Olympian in the 72 Olympics in Munich. He still runs and trains us all over the world. He now today at like 70, he still runs a 4-hour marathon and he does 30-second run, 30-second walk the whole way. 30-30. And he and I had a phone call a couple years ago. He's adamant that you should actually reduce the run time. And you never get injured, you never get hurt, and you can run any distance. Win the original marathoner. Does anybody know who the original marathoner was? Who was the first person to run a marathon? Okay, Greek history. His name was Phidippides. Phidippides was a messenger for the Greek army. This is a true story. And he was in Sparta with the army was winning. And the general said, run to Athens and tell them of the victory. Sparta and Athens are 40 kilometers apart. He ran, walked. They didn't run the whole way. He ran and then he would walk and they would run and walk. He went to Athens and said, we're winning, and delivered the message to Julius Caesar. And said, we're winning the battle. The reason that the marathon became a distance was the first Olympic Games was held in 1896 in Athens. And Baron de Cuthbert, who was the head of the Olympic Committee worldwide, said, let's celebrate some Greek history here. So he created the idea of let's redo the run that Phidippides did 2,000 years ago. And so they started the marathon in Sparta, and they ran, all the athletes ran to Athens. And that was the first real marathon, was in 1996. And then everybody said, this is really cool, this whole 42-kilometer thing, okay? And then that was how the marathon started. The first marathoner ran walk. He ran, he walked. He ran, he walked. There's nothing wrong with this, it really works. This is the program that Carol and myself will do as a run walk. It makes it easier. Okay, the final fact is you have to respect the marathon. This is a serious distance. Okay, if you think this is easy because you're fit and you're going to other exercise classes, you are in for a big learning of hell. You have to respect the distance and respect it. Do the training plan. Give me 2 to 3 hours a week. Okay, give me 2 to 3 hours a week and we'll get you through this thing good. But don't think you can just take time off, you don't care, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, have a little bit of respect. This is not an easy thing to do, and so have a lot of respect for it. Now, we are going to be the finest marathon team in the world. What we are doing is we'll have a team both of Dubai and Al-Mahia. We will enter on Refined. We have to have a minimum number of people registered, which we will be way over. So I would expect us to be probably one of the biggest teams. There's only about 1,800 people that run the Dubai Marathon. We will probably be the biggest in the race. And good for us, okay? You know, we'll be there to get you through the whole thing. Okay? There are 2 races. There's a full marathon, 42.2, and then there's a 10K. Now, you pick what you want. This has nothing to do with your evaluation. Nobody cares. My advice to you is, I'm going to make this as easy as you're ever going to get it the rest of your life. I'm going to personally train you. We're going to run with you. We're going to carry water with you. If you get blisters, I'm going to massage Vaseline on your feet. You know, I'm going to do everything. Okay. Now, if you're ever going to do this, it's now. It's now. My advice is the majority of you, all of you, should do the 42. Now, if you really don't want to do it, and you don't, it's okay. Come on, this has nothing to do with your fine performance evaluation. This is for your health in your life, because I believe firmly that this will change your life. My oldest son, who's now 34 years old, was picked on in high school and beaten up, and he hated his life, and he hated school. And as a father, it kills me. But what do? Do I go to school and take a kid and punch the other kid? I can't do this stuff. And so I went to my son when he was 16 years old, and I said, run a marathon. And he said, can I do it? And I said, I'll train you. We train together every other day. We ran on the weekends together. We ran the race together. He finished when he crossed that line, he cried his eyes out. And he went back to school in Warsaw, Poland. And the principal made an announcement, Michael Lafferty ran a 42-kilometer marathon, first time in history of something in the school. All the bullies said, wow, you ran 42. He was president of the class 2 years ago. And he will tell you to this day that marathon changed the rest of his life. He wouldn't be married to the woman he was married to, he wouldn't have kids, all because of that race. This will change your life forever. It will change your life forever. That's why I want you to do it. This has nothing to do with this company. Other than that we care about you, Nikola, Gassan, myself, we care about our people and I want you to be healthy. But you know, it's even like on diet. I don't go around lecturing people on diet. I leave it alone. I'll say once and I'm done. It's your life. But I'm here to help. We're here to help and to care. So my advice of everybody I'm looking at in this room, go 42. Forget the 10. But if you want to run to 10, do 10. Go 42. I mean, come on, Terry Fox ran 42 every day with one leg and 2 tumors in his lungs. Come on. Let's put it in perspective. The date is January 24th. We have 20 weeks of training. That is more than enough time. I normally only give 17-week training, so we got 20 weeks. We're going to be just fine, but you got to do what I'm going to send you in the mail. You got to execute the plan. Okay? I'm going to show you the slide of the maps in just a second. We want people to sign up by the 27th. When you sign up, you'll get the training plan and everything. We will pay 100% of the fee. We will also pay for your spouse 100% of the fee if they want to join. Why? Because we care. The fee is $470 AED. It's not cheap. We'll pay for both. Okay? If that's what you want to do. I will warn you now, when you sign up, I will publish your name to the whole company. Why? I'm not lying. Once you sign up. Okay, so you sign up. We'd like you to sign up very quickly. In fact, I'd like you to we had a big discussion last night because I really need time to think about, this isn't marriage. Okay, I need to think. I'm married. It's running a damn race. Just do it. Sometimes in life you gotta just do things. You can't just say, I need to contemplate. Just get in there and do it. Okay? Here are the routes. So they both go in the same place. This is the 10K route. I think they do, Carol, do they do one loop or multiple?
It's
one big loop, okay, all along, on Al-Sufu.
But the start and finish are the same.
And so, as you see here, this is the marathon. It has that same loop, but then this is 2 laps. So you start here, you go up on Al-Sufu, you come right past the palm, and you can have your family pick places. You'll come to a loop, you'll go back, you go all the way down here, you come back, and then you do one more. Okay, so if your family's on the course, they're going to see you at least 4 to 5 times. Easy. And it's very uplifting when you see your family and they're cheering you out. Go on, go on. It's the greatest thing you'll ever hear come out of someone's mouth. And how proud they are. That's the route. Any questions? Any questions? I will send you a very specific training plan next week. Once we get the sign-ups and we get all this kind of honed out, I'll send you the training plan. We will do a once-a-week group run on the weekend at my house. You do not have to come to anything. Do it on your own. But to make it easy, and I certainly like to run long with someone. I hate running by myself when I'm miserable. Okay? And I'm always miserable in the long run. So it's better to share your pain with other people and their motivation. But it's up to you. I will just do it as a service to you guys. There will be lots of questions that will come up. We will do a couple seminars on shoes. It's not a big deal, but there's a few things you can talk. And when we get closer to the marathon, there's a lot of tricks on marathon day. Some kind of run. It will be during the week what's called a maintenance run. In the beginning, the maintenance run will be a duration of 20 minutes. By the end of the program, it will be a maintenance run of 45 minutes. That's it. During the work week, 2 times 45 minutes, 1.5 hours. And then on the weekend, you'll do a long run whenever you want. On Friday, on Saturday, Carol and I will organize a long run from our house. You can come if you want. Sometimes it's fun to do a long run in a group. My driver will be helping us, and we'll have water and juice. So in the middle of the run, if we have to stop and drink, we can stop and drink. It's very convenient. But you don't have to come. You don't have to train with us ever. When you do your 2, it's going to be 2 runs a week of maintenance and 1 long run. You do it when you want, with who you want. You want to do it by yourself, you do it by yourself. You don't have to come to any meetings or anything. I will organize a long run on the weekend to help you, but you don't have to come. And when I would train in the P&G Geneva, I had 300 people run the marathon. The long runs, we'd only have 40 or 50 come. I mean, it's not like all 300 showed up. People say, I want to do it by myself. I want to do it with my kids, and my kids ride their bike, and I run with my kids on their bike. I mean, they do it on their own. So you decide. You are talking 2 to 3 hours a week for the next 20 weeks. That's it. The peak week will be about 3 to 4 hours, but that'll only be once. Every other week, in the beginning, it's going to be an hour a week. As your runs get longer, it'll go to 1.5 hours a week, 2 hours a week. So this is not big. I mean, most of the people in this room spend more time on Facebook per week than they do on this. So, don't tell me you can't find 2 to 3 hours a week. That is the price. So what is the training plan? Once you have signed up, I'm going to send you a training plan for this organization. It will take you all the way to the race day. What is it, January? What's the date, Carol? January 24th. Take you all the way to the 24th. And what it will tell you is, on this week, do 2 runs of 45 minutes. You pick the days. It can be Monday and Wednesday. It can be, Sunday and Thursday. It can be whatever. You pick the days. But on the weekend, hold a day to do your long run. If you have kids, okay, a couple of tips, because I've spent my whole life training with kids. If they're old enough to do bikes, it's fabulous. I would go out on the Palm. If I was living here with my kids, I would go out on the Palm on that boardwalk. The kids on the bike. That boardwalk is 22K around. Beautiful, it's padded and all that. If you got babies and strollers, I would highly recommend, if you want to buy a running stroller, they're amazing and I love pushing them. Kenji and I, all he remembers is memories of every morning we would get up and he would do a 15, 20 kilometer run with his dad, and I'd put him in the thing and he'd point at the moon, Daddy, moon, you know, and I'd be pushing along. You can't run with a regular stroller. You need the big wheels. If you do what's called run walk, you'll run faster, and I've done it, you know, look, I'll tell you a story. I'm leading like 50 people in PNG Philippines in a marathon. My finance manager doesn't want to listen to me. He knows everything. So we start the race, and we're doing what's called a 5-1. Run for 5 minutes, walk for 1. And I'm watching the clock. And I would yell, run! We would run 5 minutes, and then walk! And we just walk. He takes off. So the first time I yell walk, he keeps running. And I said, Jesse, stop. And he said, no, I can do this. I feel great. Everybody feels great in the first kilometer. It's not how you feel good in 1, it's how good you feel at 42. So he takes off. Now, because he was a leadership team member and it was very high profile, many of the people with me were scared. They're like, oh my God, boss, are we not going to finish this? He's already, and gradually he disappeared. So like, at 10 minutes, we still saw him. At 15, he was pretty far away. At 20, he was, you know, we didn't see him anymore. I told the whole group, I said, don't worry. This is his first marathon. He doesn't know what he's doing. We will see him again. And at kilometer 30, I saw him in the distance. And at 31, he was closer. And at 32, he got really close. And at 33, at 34, we passed him and he was dying. He was like, this is terrible. I said, you gotta listen. I've done this 30 times. Listen. And we passed him, the whole team was meeting, keeping him by 30 minutes. We were in, massage, eating, when he finally came in. It's called run walk. This is what we're going to do, this is what I do. Now, I don't do a run walk on a 5K, but on a marathon, I run walk. And you'll meet people, and I've tried it. I was once in Amsterdam Marathon, these 2 girls from California. They had their watches set to beep, like every 2 minutes they would beep, you know, for a minute. And we were all running together, and then their watch beeped, and they started walking, and I said, I feel pretty good. At like some 30K, I heard the beeping of the watch, and the girls passed me. You know, I went ahead and ran, and they copied it, and they passed me. Run, walk works. There's nothing wrong with run and walking. Everybody does it. Even I know even elites that will stop and walk for 10 seconds. They'll stop at a water stop, get the water, and then they'll start when they walk. But there's no issue with this. You do not have to run the whole thing. I don't know anybody who runs the whole thing. You know, most people had to stop and pee once during the race. You stopped. I mean, Paula Radcliffe, when she set the world record, she stopped right in front of the TV cameras and squatted and peed on the road and stood up and ran. You know, you gotta pee, you gotta pee. You know, this is the way it goes. Okay, so if you want to do anything over 4 hours, which is my recommendation, we're going to go for 7 hours and below. Okay, I'm going to run with like a 7-hour. We're going to go slow, we're going to walk, we're going to take in food, we're going to drink, and we're also going to enjoy the marathon. Don't ever wear earphones in a marathon. Why are you playing all this music? Take this thing in. This is a spectacle. There's going to be crowds. Wave, listen to people yelling, you know, this is the fun of it. Don't sit there and listen to some rap song. I mean, you can listen to rap on the toilet. You know, this is a chance in your lifetime. Enjoy the whole experience. Look at the beautiful city. This course is a beautiful course. Along the sea, along Shaped Eye Road, you get to see everything. You get to, you know, you're gonna obviously see the birds, and take it all in. Enjoy this whole thing. We're going to be doing a run walk program. All your training runs are run walk. Now, you got to find the right zone. I'm going to recommend, if you're a super beginner, 1-1. Run 1 minute, walk 1 minute. If you're okay, go 2-1. I would never go over a 5-1 because even though it feels easy at the beginning, every time I've had a 5-1 by kilometer 25, they're down to a 2-1 because their legs are dead. start and conserve your energy. This is a long race. 2-1. So even on that first one, when you run for 2 minutes, you're laughing. You're like, this is so easy. Give yourself time. This one hurts. Just give it time. Okay? So run walking is what we're going to do. This was created by a guy named Jeff Galloway. Galloway was an Olympian in the 72 Olympics in Munich. He still runs and trains us all over the world. He now today at like 70, he still runs a 4-hour marathon, and he does 30-second run, 30-second walk the whole way, 30-30. And he and I had a phone call a couple years ago. He's adamant that you should actually reduce the run time. You know, and you never get injured, you never get hurt, and you can run any distance. When the original marathoner, does anybody know who the original marathoner was? Who was the first person to run a marathon? Okay, Greek history. His name was Philippides. Philippides was a messenger for the Greek army. This is a true story. And he was in Sparta with the army. The army was winning. And the general said, run to Athens and tell them of the victory. Sparta and Athens are 40 kilometers apart. He ran, walked. They didn't run the whole way. He ran, and then he would walk, and they would run and walk. He went to Athens and said, "We're winning," and delivered the message to Julius Caesar, and said, "We're winning the battle." The reason that the marathon became a distance was the first Olympic Games was held in 1896 in Athens. And Baron de Cuthbert, who was the head of the Olympic Committee worldwide, said, let's celebrate some Greek history here. So he created the idea of let's redo the run that Philippides did 2,000 years ago. And so they started the marathon in Sparta, and they ran, all the athletes ran to Athens. And that was the first real marathon, was in 1996. And then everybody said, this is really cool, this whole 42-kilometer thing, okay, and then that was how the marathon started. The first marathoner ran walk. He ran, he walked. He ran, he walked. There's nothing wrong with this, it really works. This is the program that Carol and myself will do, is a run walk. It makes it easier. Okay, the final fact is, you have to respect the marathon. This is a serious distance. Okay, if you think this is easy because you're fit and you're going to other exercise classes, you are in for a big learning of hell. You have to respect the distance and respect it. Do the training plan. Give me 2 to 3 hours a week. Okay, give me 2 to 3 hours a week and we'll get you through this thing good. But don't think you can just take time off, you don't care, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, have a little bit of respect. This is not an easy thing to do, and so have a lot of respect for it. Now, we are going to be the finest marathon team in the world. What we are doing is we'll have a team both of Dubai and Al-Mahia. We will enter under fine. We have to have a minimum number of people registered, which we will be way over. So I would expect us to be probably one of the biggest teams. There's only about 1,800 people that run the Dubai Marathon. We will probably be the biggest in the race. And good for us, okay? We'll be there to get you through the whole thing. Okay? There are 2 races. There's a full marathon, 42.2, and then there's a 10K. Now, you pick what you want. This has nothing to do with your evaluation. Nobody cares. My advice to you is, I'm going to make this as easy as you're ever going to get it the rest of your life. I'm going to personally train you. We're going to run with you. We're going to drink water with you. If you get blisters, I'm going to massage Vaseline on your feet. I'm going to do everything. Okay. Now, if you're ever going to do this, it's now. It's now. My advice is the majority of you, all of you, should do the 42. Now, if you really don't want to do it, and it's okay. Come on, this has nothing to do with your fine performance evaluation. This is for your health in your life, because I believe firmly that this will change your life. My oldest son, who's now 34 years old, was picked on in high school and beaten up, and he hated his life, and he hated school. And as a father, it kills me. But what do? Do I go to school and take the kid and punch the other kid? I can't do this stuff. And so I went to my son when he was 16 years old, and I said, Run a marathon. He said, can I do it? I said, I'll train you. We train together every other day. We ran on the Warsaw, Poland. And the principal made an announcement, Michael Lafferty ran a 42-kilometer marathon, first time in history of something in the school. All the bullies said, wow, you ran 42. He was president of the class 2 years ago. And he will tell you to this day that marathon changed the rest of his life. He wouldn't be married to the woman he was married to, he wouldn't have kids, all because of that race. This will change your life forever. It will change your life forever. That's why I want you to do it. This has nothing to do with this company. Other than that we care about you, Nicola, Gasson, and myself, we care about our people and I want you to be healthy. But you know, it's even like on diet. I don't go around lecturing people on diet. I leave it alone. I'll say once and I'm done. It's your life. But I'm here to help. We're here to help and to care. So my advice of everybody I'm looking at in this room, go 42. Forget the 10. But if you want to do 10, do 10. Go 42. I mean, come on, Terry Fox ran 42 every day with one leg and 2 tumors in his lungs. Come on. Let's put it in perspective. The date is January 24th. We have 20 weeks of training. That is more than enough time. I normally only give 17-week training, so we got 20 weeks. We're going to be just fine, but you got to do what I'm going to send you in the mail. You got to execute the plan. Okay? I'm going to show you the slide of the maps, and it's the second. We want people to sign up by the 27th. When you sign up, you'll get the training plan and everything. We will pay 100% of the fee. We will also pay for your spouse 100% of the fee if they want to join. Why? Because we care. The fee is $470 AED. It's not cheap. We'll pay for both. Okay? If that's what you want to do. I will warn you now, when you sign up, I will publish your name to the whole company. Why? I'm not lying. Because once you sign up. Okay, so you sign up. We'd like you to sign up very quickly. In fact, I'd like you to know. We had a big discussion last night because I didn't need time to think about, this isn't marriage. Okay, I need to think. I'm trying to marry you. It's not a damn race. Just do it. Sometimes in life you gotta just do things. You can't just say, I need to contemplate. Just get in there and do it. Okay? Here are the routes. So they both go in the same place. This is the 10K route. I think they do, Carol, do they do one loop or multiple?
It's
one big loop, okay, all along, on Alsufu.
But the start and finish are the same.
And so, as you see here, this is the marathon. It has that same loop, but then this is 2 laps. So you start here, you go up on Alsufu, you come right past the palm, and you can have your family pick places. You'll come to a loop, you'll go back. You go all the way down here, you come back, and then you do one more. Okay, so if your family's on the course, they're going to see you at least 4 to 5 times. Easy. And it's very uplifting when you see your family. They're cheering you out. Go on, go on. It's the greatest thing you'll ever hear come out of someone's mouth. And how proud they are. That's the route. Any questions? Any questions? I will send you a very specific training plan next week. Once we get the sign-ups and we get all this kind of honed out, I'll send you the training plan. We will do a once-a-week group run on the weekend out of my house. You do not have to come to anything. Do it on your own. But to make it easy, and I certainly like to run long with someone. I hate running by myself when I'm miserable. Okay? And I'm always miserable all the time. So it's better to share the pain with other people and the motivation. But it's up to you. I will just do it as a service to you guys. There will be lots of questions that will come up. We will do a couple seminars on shoes. It's not a big deal, but there's a few things you can talk. And when we get closer to the marathon, there's a lot of tricks on marathon day and what to eat. My advice to you is, I'm going to make this as easy as you're ever going to get it the rest of your life. I'm going to personally train you. We're going to run with you. We're going to carry water with you. If you get blisters, I'm going to massage Vaseline onto your feet. I'm going to do everything. Okay. Now, if you're ever going to do this, it's now. It's now. My advice is the majority of you, all of you, should do the 42. Now, If you really don't want to do it and you don't have, it's okay. You know, come on, this has nothing to do with your fine performance evaluation. This is for your health and your life, because I believe firmly that this will change your life. My oldest son, who's now 34 years old, was picked on in high school and beaten up, and he hated his life and he hated school. And as a father, it kills me, but what do? Do I go to school and take the kid and punch the other kid? I can't do this stuff. And so I went to my son when he was 16 years old, and I said, run a marathon with me. And he said, can I do it? And I said, I'll train with you. We trained together every other day. We ran on the weekends together. We ran the race together. He finished. When he crossed that line, he cried his eyes out, and he went back to school in Warsaw, Poland. And the principal made an announcement. Michael Lafferty ran 42-kilometer marathon, first time in history, someone from the school. All the bullies said, wow, man, you ran 42? He was president of his class 2 years later. And he will tell you to this day, the marathon changed the rest of his life. He wouldn't be married to the woman he was married to. He wouldn't have kids, all because of that race. This will change your life forever. It will change your life forever. That's why I want you to do it. This has nothing to do with this company, other than that we care about you, Nicola, Gassan, myself. We care about our people, and I want you to be healthy. But you know, it's even like on diet. I don't go around lecturing people on diet. I leave it alone. I'll say once and I'm done. It's your life. But I'm here to help. We're here to help and to care. So my advice of everybody I'm looking at in this room, go 42. Forget the 10. But if you really want the 10, do the 10. But go 42. I mean, come on. Terry Fox ran 42 every day with one leg and 2 tumors in his lungs. Come on. Let's put it in perspective. The date is January 24th. We have 20 weeks of training. That is more than enough time. I normally only give 17-week training, so we got 20 weeks. We're going to be just fine, but you got to do what I'm going to send you in the mail. You got to execute the plan. Okay? I'm going to show you the slide of the maps in just a second. We want people to sign up by the 27th. When you sign up, you'll get the training plan and everything. We will pay 100% of the fee. We will also pay for your spouse 100% of the fee if they want to join. Why? Because we care. The fee is $470 AED. It's not cheap. We'll pay it for both. Okay? If that's what you want to do. I will warn you now, when you sign up, I will publish your name to the whole company. Why? Because I'm going to lock you in. Once you sign up, you're in. Okay? Once you're in, you're in. Okay? So you sign up. We'd like you to sign up very quickly. In fact, I'd like you, we had a big discussion last night. People say they need time to think about it. This isn't marriage. Okay? I need to think. Should I marry her? It's running a damn race. Just do it. Sometimes life, you got to just do things. You can't just say, I need to contemplate. Just get in there and do it. Okay? Here are the routes. So they both go in the same place. This is a 10K route. I think they do, Carol, do they do one loop or multiple? One big loop. Okay, all along, on Al-Sufu.
The start and the finish are the same.
And so, as you see here, this is the marathon. It has that same loop, but then this is 2 laps. So you start here, you go up all along Sufu, you come right past the palm, and you can have your you pick places. You'll come do a loop, you'll go back, you go all the way down here, you come back, and then you do one more. Okay, so if your family's on the course, they're going to see you at least 4 to 5 times. Easy. And it's very uplifting when you see your family and they're cheering you out, go mom, go mom. It's the greatest thing you'll ever hear come out of someone's mouth is when you're in a race and how proud they are of you. That's the route. Any questions? Any questions? I will send you this very specific training plan next week. Once we get the sign-ups and we get all this kind of calmed down, I'll send you the training plan. We will do a once-a-week group run on the weekend at my house. You do not have to come to anything. Do it on your own. But to make it easy, and I certainly like to run long with someone. I hate running by myself when I'm miserable. Okay, and I'm always miserable in a long run. So it's better to share your pain with other people and the motivation. but it's up to you. I will just do it as a service to you guys. There will be lots of questions that will come up. We will do a couple seminars on shoes. There's not a big deal, but there's a few things we can talk. And when we get closer to the marathon, there's a lot of tricks on marathon day and what to eat the night before and all that kind of stuff. We will take you through all that. The two biggest questions in marathoning are the questions that everybody has and no one will ever ask. So I'm going to answer them both right now. The first one is poop. The odds are very high you're going to have to poop in the middle of a marathon. Okay, it's probably 95% you will have to. That much running for that long a time, you suddenly say, I gotta go. I gotta go. There will be toilets on the route and all that stuff, you figure it out. I have, in 30 some marathons, I pooped in at least 28 of them. Okay, you gotta stop. You gotta stop, because this is the nature of the beast. And you know, one time I'm gonna really gross you out, but I'm gonna tell the story. I'm in the Paris Marathon and I gotta go. And normally, if you have to pee, I don't care. You just do it. And when I ran in the Paris Marathon in the beginning, I was on the Champs-Élysées running, and these women would just stop right in front of me, pull their pants down, and squat and pee. And I was jumping over pee. Like, you know, there was this stream of pee, and I would be jumping over it. Now, there's no modesty in a marathon around urination. But the other one, number 2, is a bit more tricky. So I'm like running, and I go into this tunnel along the Seine River. There's all these tunnels. I go into this tunnel, and I thought, okay, it's dark. And I see this doorway. Now, I'm slow. So I'm already 20,000 runners have gone in front of me. I go up to this doorway, and I thought, I found the perfect place. I can squat, and I can poop right here. There was a pile of poop already in the doorway this high. I mean, it was so big, it like blocked the door. And I thought, there's no, you know, already 20,000 people have gone there. And you know, everybody else had the same idea. So then I went up the hill and I'm like, I gotta go. So I go into this bar, and the bartender says to me, you have to buy a drink. And so I was carrying 10 euros. I said, you know, je veux une bière. I took a beer. And he drew me a beer. I went to the bath. He let me go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. I come out, and I told the guy at the bar, you can drink my beer, and I went back out in the race. You know, there will be lots of, this is the Dubai Marathon. It's very well organized. There will be stuff out there. Now, you should learn as much as you can about your bowels and what you should eat and what you not eat. This is experimentation. But even with getting it right and saying, I'm going to eat my last meal 5 hours, you know, you still may have to go, and it happens. Yeah. I'm sorry?
Like the pull-ups, would they help?
The pull-ups.
The pull-ups.
You can't wear a diaper in a marathon. You're talking about.
No, seriously.
You can't. You're talking about 40,000 steps. You will be bleeding and chafed. You can't wear any kind of thing. Because the second question is menstruation. And I'm going to be 100% clear. You cannot wear a pad in a marathon. You will be blistered and chafed to no end. There's only one solution. Either you run when you're not on your period, or 2, tampon. That's it. You cannot put a pad. Yeah, you can walk around the office in a pad, but you can't run 42K with a pad. The thing is, things are rubbing. This is not pleasant. And so, you know, I mean, in the Philippines, I had huge issues because they don't want to wear tampons for religious reasons. And I would say, you know, look, this is a big problem. But that's the only solution, is you gotta tan. I've never had a single woman run a pad that finished. They stopped and they were in big trouble. And it wasn't bleeding and leakage, it was irritation. They're irritated to no end. Those are the 2 biggest questions that nobody asks. You know, obviously Carol will be here to help on those type of things. You know, I mean, if you look at what we would do for Olympians, for like menstruation, we went to the gynecologist, we gave them injections of progesterone, and we changed their period. If we did the math and we say they're going to menstruate during the marathon in the Olympics, I went to the doctor 4 months ahead and we changed their period with drugs, with hormone injections. But you know, that's not going to be done here. This is for an elite runner.
I just want to add something.
Yeah.
There's a portalet every 5K marathon.
Yeah.
And a water station every 2.5.
Yeah. So this is a well-organized race. You know, I would never do a beginner's marathon in like a small race. This is a Dubai, it's well organized. They got lots of support out there, lots of toilets. Okay, these portalettes are not the cleanest things in the world, and they're not something that you know, when I've been in one of these things and I drop a piece of clothing, I leave the clothing and I never put it. I'm like, okay, no, I don't want that hat. I'd like I have my hat and the hat would fall on the ground and it's in the wet. I say, okay, forget the hat, they can have it, and I'm done. But, you know, there will be toilets, you'll be able to figure this thing out. You should experiment, you know, I know this is a bit blunt, but you should experiment with different foods and different take-in times when you do your long runs on the weekend, and you'll start to figure out your bowel pattern. But most people with extended cardiovascular exercise will have to poop. This happens because it speeds up food through your intestinal tract. Okay? Other questions? Yep.
How do you pick the right running shoes for the marathon?
How do you pick the right running shoes? I can help you. It's not very complicated. These guys can make it very complicated, and they're trying to sell you all this gait analysis. If you have very good normal feet, normal foot strike, you don't need all this buildup that Nike creates. You need very basic running shoes, you know, what are called neutral shoes. They don't have any kind of special features, because everything that you put on your foot is weight. You want the lightest shoes possible. And you know, the big thing that we'll do, as we get started, I'll do one time a seminar on how to run. The easiest way to explain how to run is if you take the human foot, the greatest invention for absorbing shock in the world is the arch. That is an amazing invention by God to absorb shock. Now, many people when they run on their heels. They come like this. This is not the way you run. You have to run the way you would run barefoot. So you take your shoes off. When you're barefoot, you're a bit up on your toes. That engages the arch. But the running shoes have been